Hello, in the beginning of a physical phase, in the physical phase of evolution of the Campus Martius, the first theories of pantheism, they understood that there's one identity of space, one system by it, and God is a concept in relation to the science of teaching about this. With that process called ratiocination, with us known as a correlation nature, is a radical of correlation. And the ancients never could believe that the ancients after them would forget how to make evolution by being this, by following the space nature's positive identity, positive relationship unto itself. It only has a positive relationship unto itself, or a negative relationship unto itself. And as its complete relationship to itself, realized only as conjunction, but as a here, as value maintained progressively here, progressive positive value nature progressions, evolution, or as Leith of Hades, forced away from its identity, as the identity of all space, which stays positive onto itself, pushing what is only positive temporary away as negative value nature to positive value nature's progression somewhere else. Perfect memory remembers. See, here, hello, the species value nature system. So now we're going to read from Genesis. In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. So this is what I'm saying. And the earth was void and empty, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved over the waters. But in the beginning, there was no obstruction. There was a quality of diffusion to itself, space's identity. Now there's water. And so then we go into the creation of light. And God said, be light made, and light was made. And God saw the light that it was good, and he divided the light from the darkness. He's looking for the good each time. He's looking for correlation, not contrast. He's not looking what's good or bad. Only positive through positive. We'll understand that there's three natures of zero manifest in relationship to teach this. The first one is the bond to matter, that nature as a value, as a semi-nature, but as a semi-nature with the potential inherent in relationship to the inherent potential manifest as consciousness, and as it actively at the same time, progressively and actively at the same time, same value. We call the light day and the darkness night. The day and the night are going clear values body, clear as values body, peer, no, not to color here, to this. Color is a polarity nature contained within. Clear as body, peer, no means, law, system, course, Campus Martius, return, Pantheism, one God, Allah. This does not deny the first part of the Quran is about lies caused by into the fact, treatment, nature of a species where even all sides are victim predators, not by the campuses, by the sciences criminally engineered to all modern nations, force shared, agreed to this, to police this together as a fake identity nations. Only real in relationship to only realized, blamed on other tactically life progressions and real terrors. Terror they use the wrong word because in their minds that's what it is, because they can only understand what they have to do in relationship to the only way they can counter what they know with the sophistication they have, like in other words, how to keep things safe with more things in time-wise and number-wise than there are hours in the day. Not by accident. In other words, not by accident. Correlation is not led of science, and it has to. And we have trick fact nature even debating that, which is the ancients understood. First, you have to understand the darkness as a stage before the clear. So night, there was evening and morning one day. God said, "Let there be firmament made amidst the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters." This polarity nature. Inherent to polarity nature is polarity nature too, yin and yang. Nature of intonation sciences was lost that revealed English together. A nature of humanity that understood value of the radical correlation, the identity of positive as a value, as an identity of value, because it is also an identity as negative value. And to understand the difference between its nature as negative value nature and or as positive value nature, you have to understand it as an identity of value, not to itself and what it's coming through, which is what that demonstrates, studying that. This is a quality of diffusion we are as life, unto life, ourself, that shared a body of value, like all parts of our body share an identity, which is a value shared by each body. A body before a value to itself before it was even here, as it is here, inherently, actively, and progressively. Because once it's gone, it's not gone for. It's to a nature that is becoming more and more positive unto itself, and negative is becoming more and more negative, because this is perfection, which will only stay that. Will not let here. Perfect course, ratiocination, push from here. We lead not with opinions as science, and then claim that. And not when you need jobs. Have predatory one, trick fat nutrient nature, and exploitations of that juxtaposed, gangland overtly and unrealized. That's what's keeping that. Same we were, the God called the firmament in heaven and evening, the morning, the Sunday. God also said, "Let the waters that are under the heaven be gathered together into what?" And it was done, and it was so done. And God called the dry land earth. In gathering together of the waters, he called seas, and God saw that it was good. And so we're coming here. It's to a nature. We're talking about evolution here. We're talking about science. This is also, the religions are working together as science, but not with the physical delusions that are called science, and that the cipher with religious texts was forced to go with, and it's not cipher, because the sequence nature is not honest interpretation, and because of interscience sabotages are themselves in our human fact treatment nature per ulterior agenda, as ours, each modern nation, even kings. Not in relate. They understand this, but they don't. No one understands how to make the fact. In other words, everyone's tied as an abridged fact treatment nature, as identities that are not real, to great extents. Each religion doesn't understand the nature of the organized crime is using fact treatment nature itself. Now all employed, not just nations, to pseudo-identities top down, for shared ill market positions, for shared police, for shared pretended credible, forced suit and tie, forced criminal insidiousness nature, criminally legalized, forced pretend to not realize, forced our founders extortion, and fact treatment nature slavery. See, this was forced, and it was had slavery. Not just slavery on everyone. Different had trick fact treatment tricks, where they hurt people with dark pigment more. Agencies from Africa too, a minority from every land, but it was they were only realized too as Oz through criminally re-engineered sciences that everyone thought didn't realize what was locking everyone into needing to blame it on everything else, and invested all pseudo-sophistication, comparison natures. That's not sophistication, but in comparison to things like forsaken homeland fronts, forsaken science, claimed other, and in the face they share terms like poverty, and as a non-nature, non-truth conviction, not letting science demonstrate what the problems are with that education, not letting people out of the trap. I rap. So our founders, there were laws, not just against everybody, distinctly and together, and in groups, and in each age of fact treatment nature, distinctly and together, and in groups, and sequence-wise. Because everyone's a measured sequence to intercampus. And that's this thing. Her fact treatment nature reactions as breaching nature, blaming it on different things as the organized crime method is a breaching method. I'm not even a lawyer or a criminal expert on English grammar, which connects to the predicate value, which is connected to the predicate act value, which is connected to criminal enterprises, which is connected to archetypal criminal enterprise that stole the original proper nature of Campus Marcius. Then now, until this is returned to proper fact treatment nature itself, the only system it has, the identity of space, Allah. This is for science before it becomes the crown. And with it, just like our parts of our body share that one sequence, share what is positive onto each individual cell or organ. Each difference is the same thing. It's the same system as the same one. And distinct. So in other words, what made this evolution is for us to understand the rest of nature has no criminal persuasions. It's on nature's system. It's evolving. And it's only going to do that because the identity of space as a forever nature, the one that bonded all matter together in all space and which holds yet immediate space nature, Earth, of inherent active and progressive value to itself, that is changing, leads to hadiths, and it's manifest in relationship to the value nature systems and the conviction natures associated with NASA and with all nations, too, with the war and with all that. In other words, the entire species, not just our opinions, what we understand together. We would stop war right now, but we don't have the means to it because we don't have we have every nation plane inherited to roll with guys, but blame that can only play broke, can only justify ill justifications of and as a criminal insidiousness nature that cannot justify itself and counter what built this, to cultivate it from a base propagated for it before, only letting rolls through criminally re-engineered sciences, and then to criminally engineered industry and it's policing everything, and medical corruption, pseudo-medical corruption, right, with the space in the value nature system, and interbranch original progressive corruption with pseudo-healthcare, psychology, delusion worse than delusion propagating, worse than, all kinds of natures are juxtaposed, recorded, juxtaposed, and for fat treatment nature tricks, holding what only let realized live progression cover up nature standing as modern nations. No such thing as a legalized criminal enterprise. But with their physical delusions, but with criminally influenced fact treatment natures, criminally foreign influence through areas, fake identities. So we come to this. Then we're going to come to the colors, and we're going to come to the nature of the clear body. We're going to come to polarity nature. And God said, "Let there be lights made." Okay, so we're going to come right to Adam and Eve. And we're going to see they're talking about a value nature system. And so I have to, and the radical value of correlation, which is what? Positive. And what is positive? Positive is positive, inherent, active, and progressive relationship to itself as identity, as the value that is also a nature, the sequence nature too, of our bodies, and of inherently, actively, and progressively. In other words, so this is three longings in three positions as one nature that is a Trinity unto itself, with the nature of consciousness that was before matter, that made light, that made the darkness value as clear, that made the light value. Its own value is clear, a clear body of value, as wind notes when speaking trees. It's moving through here. Now we don't see that. We don't really hear it anywhere near the right when it hits buildings. Colonization's organized crime method was a fact treatment and slavery method with those terror database relationships, laws that have one forced to a natures of criminal insidiousness a theater called criminal insidiousness, in relationship to juxtaposed natures of organized crime, in relationship to the one mentioned, archetypal organized crime. A method, a breaching method, using fact treatment natures, juxtaposed natures of crime that are verbal, juxtaposed with other natures of crime, are cultivated from a base propagated for this. Internation. And this is with nations ill with war, but also ill with peace. Who will peace? Three natures peace. Only one is positive always, and this is not. And so we're going to come. Then we're going to see in the generation of Adam and Eve, and we're going to see the phenomena with our alphabet. Where Jesus says, "I am the Alpha and I am the Omega." This is what was preserved, because the English was revealed to teach about the identity the sciences share, just like all parts of our body share identity, just as space shares all parts of it identity. And we lose in the value. That's why we're going to space, when we have what's claimed poverty here, but it's worse. These are forsaken fronts. See, this the reason everyone was made to that standing nature and forced to be the face of England, but was really internation sciences, entrenched before the births of our founders, extorted, enslaved, fact treatment nature founders, forced to and as theater because even generals, whatever like that. There was nothing but predatory comparison natures, odds, rolls, and invested that way as fact cheating nature rackets, database rackets, lie progression cover-up natures, criminal insidiousness natures, misprision criminalities built. So criminal and understanding that will be self-maintenance to a self-breaching role, only capable of perpetually remaining a contained fact-cheating nature. In other words, so they could see who was going to break the breaching from each area of each nation. That's where the suit and tie too evolved from, because colonization was engineered to stay dissolved functional to this. In other words, our founders had to play theater. Even they had to leave slavery entrenched in Connecticut, was entrenched here before their births. International sciences here, and they weren't allowed to talk about it, including Native Americans today. Obviously, we know this just through correlation with they have to have the policing of casinos, for example. And for example, they have to inherently, actively, and progressively blame on other things, inherent, active, and progressive impositions upon Native Americans. So they have that too. Internation, fake sides, facilitated to and as the same line progression, cover-up nature, not only for on the books, to great extents. So with our founders, so they could see who was going to do what, they had everyone standing wrong as what they couldn't defend and then defend from, which is a nature of criminal insidiousness, too slick for everyone. Also tactically pseudo-educated, which would have been worse had Islam not been multi-front to save what took Christianity to the Dark Ages under its name, under its guise, because it knew it was going to be handed off to a humanity. Even the Quran is aware of this too. Warns that Muslims that say they're Muslims all the way, they don't understand it. All you have to do is say you believe that there is one, not God. There's one identity of space, Allah. And the concept of God is revealed, in other words, by science. And this, in other words, science in relationship, not a bridge science, where they share an identity. So we're talking about predicate value with English, which is always a positive relationship to itself, inherently, actively, and progressively with English, the predicate value. Predicate value with a predicate act in relationship to archetypal criminal enterprise especially is inherent, the same thing, regular criminal enterprise, inherently, actively, and progressively negative value nature relationship to itself, positive, as our identity, as its identity onto itself. Because it's a forever nature that compressed, and this is the value of the bond to matter. That is in diffusion through it. That is with no criminal persuasions, unobstructed, the rest of nature. See, we have a criminal influenced human fact treatment nature as an ill that's not working with space fit nature system. And each modern nation was forced, even kings, to entertain forced shared markets positions, which means an ulterior from natural value nature system, which means by rules that contradict themselves. At the same time, when they're told to pretend integrity, at the same time, where they're forced to negotiations with that's fact treatment nature, disconnected from actual space nature's nature of truth. truth, and it's not truth, even when it is. And there's a database. The truth has lies out too many ways. So native rights, it's a physical delusion. Say, oh, they're lost, whatever, like that. They're still here. They're still American citizens. And in other words, our American citizens, the suburban areas, still have uncharged colonial slavery laws, fact-cheating nature, extortion, rackets. Not all, only realize predatory litigation nature standing. Rackets against every first value of the Constitution not reported because they juxtaposed interbranch, foreign police, as a nature not needing to hide that naturally, but per criminal international persuasions originally progressed. As Oz, as predator breaching nature roles, blaming on other comparison nature, sick criminal justice rackets, sick prisons, sick conviction natures, needing to hide lies, delusions, premises, criminal international persuasions, not abridged, do not be abridged, the Constitution. We're going to understand our founders. They were forced to a standing theater with everyone, with all the modern nations, same way. And they built that as criminal insidiousness nature consciously, because whoever stepped out of that, they could see. That's not going to, then that's the breach. They're not playing their role. And that's what they're still cultivating. They're cultivating predatory opinion natures, not letting science, not letting sequence shifts and database crimes, systemic reported. This is in Wethersfield. And with Wethersfield schools further, they're hiding, not just hiding further in these intercity schools, Rocky Hill schools, Hartford schools, West Hartford schools, private schools, and this intercampus, this inter-nature campus, fire department campuses, hospital campuses, this is databases crimes, evidences rackets crimes, cultivating life progression, cover-up natures, misprision group, personal needs to cover